Chosen one, before I say another word, I need you to do something for your spirit. Stop everything. Take a deep breath, hold it, and let it go. That heaviness you just released, that was the weight of a battle you have been fighting alone for years. I know you are tired. I know you have asked God, why was my test so much harder than everyone else's? And why did I have to lose so much? But listen closely to the verdict from heaven. You did not just survive. You passed. And here is the secret that makes the enemy tremble. You passed the right way. While others became bitter, you stayed kind. While others sought revenge, you left it to God. While the world broke, you only bent. The enemy thought he was burying you, but God was planting you. You are not watching this by accident. This is your divine appointment. The grading season is over. The suffering has served its purpose. Now, open your heart to receive the reason why it had to happen and the massive reward that was waiting for you to finish the course. I need to speak to your physical body right now because that is where you are feeling this the most. You have been walking around with a strange pressure in your chest. It is not pain, but it feels like a tight band wrapped around your heart. You wake up with your jaw clenched. Your shoulders feel like they are carrying invisible concrete blocks. You have gone to doctors, you have taken vitamins, but the exhaustion does not go away. Listen to me. This is not medical. This is spiritual. You are suffering from battle fatigue. You have been on the front lines of a spiritual war that your family does not see and your friends do not understand. They look at you and think you are fine because you still smile. But inside, you are running on fumes. You have been carrying the burdens of your bloodline, breaking curses that started before you were born. The Bible speaks of this refining process in Isaiah 48 verse 10, where God says, "Behold, I have refined you, but not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction." That furnace is what you have been feeling. The heat was turned up not to burn you, but to burn off everything that was not you. That brain fog you have had for the last 3 months, that was not confusion. That was your spirit detaching from the old world. Your system was rebooting. You felt numb because God was performing surgery on your heart while you were still awake. You thought you were breaking down, but you were actually breaking through. But this fatigue is not just about your body or the stress of the day. It comes from a specific event that has been happening to you in the spirit realm, usually at a very specific time of night, and it is the real reason you feel so drained. Think about your sleep patterns lately. How many times in the last few weeks have you woken up suddenly between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m.? You look at the clock. It is 3:33 or 4:44. The house is quiet. The world is asleep. But you are wide awake. Your mind starts racing instantly. You think this is insomnia. You think it is anxiety about bills or relationships. No, it is a summons. In the spiritual realm, the hours between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. are known as the fourth watch. This is when the veil between the physical world and the spiritual world is the thinnest. God did not let you sleep because he needed a watchman. While others were dreaming, you were called to stand guard. You were sensing attacks before they happened. You were feeling the shifting of atmospheres. That anxiety you felt in the middle of the night was actually your spirit picking up on enemy signals. You were fighting battles in your sleep. Scripture tells us in Psalm 130, verse 6, "My soul waits for the Lord more than watchmen wait for the morning." You have been that watchman. The reason you are so tired during the day is that you have been working a double shift. You work a job in the natural, and you work a warrior's shift in the spiritual. The enemy tried to use these waking hours to torment you with fear, to make you overthink your past mistakes, But God allowed it because He was downloading secrets into your spirit that are about to be unlocked. You are not an insomniac. You are a general who was called to the war room. So the next time your eyes fly open at 3 a.m., do not grab your phone. Do not panic. Just say, "I am here, Lord." But I know that in those long, dark hours, there was one thing that hurt more than the lack of sleep. And in those nights of tossing and turning, the biggest question screaming in your mind was always this: God, if I am your chosen one, why are you so silent when I need you the most? The answer to that question is not what you think, and it is going to shock you. The silence of God. It is the most painful part of the chosen one's journey. You prayed, and the ceiling felt like brass. You cried, and it felt like your tears were falling into a void. You saw other people who do not even try to live right, getting blessed instantly. But you got silence. You felt abandoned. You felt like maybe you had done something wrong, or maybe God had lifted His hand from your life. Let me heal that lie right now. The silence was not rejection. The silence was a protocol. Think about when you were in school. When the teacher is teaching, they talk. When the teacher is reviewing, they talk. But when the teacher hands out the final exam, the most important test of the year, what do? They stay silent. The teacher is quiet during the test, not because they are absent, but because they trust the student to use what they have learned. God was silent because He was watching you write your history. He knew that if He spoke, He would have to deliver you prematurely, and if He delivered you too soon, you would not have developed the spiritual muscle you need for where you are going next. Job understood this deep pain in Job 23 verses 8 and 9, when he said, "Behold, I go forward, but He is not there, and backward, but I cannot perceive Him." Job passed the test because he trusted God's character, even when he could not hear God's voice. You have done the same. You kept walking when it was dark. You kept believing when it was quiet. That is why you passed. The silence was actually a sign of God's extreme confidence in you. He knew you would not fold. He knew you would not sell your soul for a quick exit. Now that the test is over, the silence is breaking. But now that you understand why God was silent, we need to talk about something much darker. We need to talk about the people around you, because while God was silent to test your faith, the enemy used people to test your heart. There is a terrifying spiritual reason why the people you loved the most were the ones who held the knife, and it is linked to a syndrome called the Judas effect that you need to understand right now before you enter your new season. The Judas effect is not just about betrayal, it is about identification. But before we get to who betrayed you, we have to understand why you were targeted in the first place. This brings us to the core distinction of your test, the difference between simply surviving and actually passing. You see, there are millions of people on this planet who go through trauma. They lose jobs, they go through divorces, they face illness, they survive, but they do not pass. How do you know the difference? You look at their fruit. Most people, when they go through the fire, come out carrying the smell of smoke. They become bitter. They become cynical. They start treating innocent people badly because someone treated them badly. They survive the event, but they lose their character. But God showed me something magnificent about you. You went through hell. You were mocked. You were misunderstood. And yet, you are still kind. You still help people. You still have a heart that wants to give, even after it has been robbed. This is the miracle. The test was never about whether you could handle the pain. It was about whether the pain would change your nature. The enemy wanted to use this suffering to turn you into a dark, resentful person, just like him, but you refused. You kept your heart pure. The Bible speaks of this incredible endurance in Romans 5 verses 3 and 4, where it says, We glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation produces perseverance, and perseverance, character, and character, hope. You have built a level of character that money cannot buy. You did not just keep your life, you kept your light. And because you refused to let the darkness enter your heart, you passed the test the right way. Take a moment right now to honor yourself in your spirit. Do not wait for an apology from them to feel validated. In your mind, I want you to imagine placing a golden crown on your own head. You earned this. You kept your integrity when it would have been easier to play dirty. But here is the dangerous truth about having a pure heart. Your light does not just attract God, it irritates the demons in others. Because your heart is so pure, you became a magnet for a specific type of painful test that only chosen ones endure. The betrayal of the inner circle. This is what we call the Judas test. And I know there is someone listening to me right now who is still bleeding from a knife that was stuck in your back by someone you called a friend, a partner, or even a family member. It makes no sense to you. You gave them everything. You prayed for them. You loaned them money you did not have. And in return, they gossiped about you. They lied on your name, or they abandoned you the moment you needed them. You have been asking God, why did you let them get close to me if you knew they would hurt me? Here is the revelation. Judas was not an accident. Judas was an assignment. You have to understand the spiritual physics of elevation. You were getting too comfortable in a season that was expiring. You were loyal to people who were not going where you are going. If they had stayed loyal to you, you would have never let them go. You would have dragged them into your destiny, and their weight would have sunk your ship. So God had to allow their nature to be revealed to force you to release them. Scripture tells us in Psalm 41, verse 9, even my close friend, someone I trusted, one who shared my bread, has turned against me. David went through it. Jesus went through it. And you went through it. But notice something. Judas didn't stop Jesus. Judas launched Jesus into his destiny. Without the kiss of betrayal, there is no crucifixion, and without the crucifixion, there is no resurrection. That person who hurt you, they were not an obstacle. They were an elevator. They thought they were burying you, but they were actually pushing you toward your purpose. I want you to do a spiritual act of release right now. Picture that person's face in your mind. Do not send them hate. Hate ties you to them. Instead, I want you to imagine a cord connecting your stomach to their stomach. Now, in your imagination, take a sword of light and cut that cord. Sever it. Watch them float away from your timeline. Say to your spirit, thank you for the lesson, but you cannot go where I am going. You are free. But listen, Judas is just one person. Judas is just a pawn on the chessboard. The real reason you have faced so much resistance is not just about who you met in this lifetime. It is about what you were born to break for your entire bloodline. This brings us to the heaviest part of your anatomy as a chosen one. The cycle breaker burden. Have you ever felt like you are carrying the weight of your parents, your grandparents, and ancestors you have never even met? You look at your family and you see patterns: addiction, poverty, divorce, depression, anger. It runs through your bloodline like a dark river. But then there is you. You are the black sheep. But let me reframe that for you. You are not the black sheep because you are bad. You are the black sheep because you are the only one white enough to show the dirt. You were sent into this family as a spiritual filtration system. The trauma stops with you. The poverty stops with you. The dysfunction stops with you. This is why your life has been so much harder than your siblings or your cousins. They are just replaying the script. You are trying to rewrite it. God speaks of this mission in Isaiah 58 verse 12, where he says, "You shall be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of streets to dwell in." That is your title in the spirit realm. You are a repairer. You have been fighting demons that your grandfather made agreements with. You have been feeling pains that your mother refused to heal. It is unfair. I know it is unfair. You feel like screaming, "Why do I have to clean up a mess I didn't make?" Because you are the strongest. Because God looked down at your bloodline and saw that it was heading for destruction, and he said, "I will send one of my best warriors down there to turn the ship around." That warrior is you. Every time you chose to heal instead of getting high, you were breaking a chain. Every time you chose to forgive instead of holding a grudge, you were rewriting your DNA. You have been doing the work of 4 generations in one lifetime. So, if you feel exhausted, it is not because you are weak. It is because you are carrying the cross for your entire lineage. But hear this good news. The heavy lifting is done. The chains are broken. You have paid the debt for the house. Now, you are about to walk into the inheritance that the enemy tried to steal from your family for centuries. Type, "I break the cycle," in the comments to seal this decree in the atmosphere. But as you stand there, looking at your family, looking at the people around you, you still feel a deep, nagging sense of not belonging. Even after breaking the curses, you still feel like a stranger in your own home. You look at humans, and you feel different. Like you are operating on a completely different operating system. There is a reason for that. It is not just about your family trauma, it is about your cosmic origin. You feel like an alien because, in a spiritual sense, you are one. And science and scripture are about to collide to explain exactly why your DNA repels the world around you. You have spent your entire life trying to fit into circles that were too small for your spirit. You have walked into rooms and felt the atmosphere change instantly just because you entered. People either love you intensely without knowing why, or they hate you instantly without a reason. There is no middle ground with you. This is the eagle among chickens paradox. You see, a chicken looks at the ground, it fights for scraps, it lives in a flock. But an eagle flies alone. It looks at the sun, it hunts from the heavens. You have been criticizing yourself for being socially awkward. You have wondered why you feel drained after just 1 hour of small talk. You thought you were introverted, or maybe even broken. No, you are not broken. You are high frequency. Everything in this universe is energy and vibration. Your spirit carries a frequency that is calibrated to the throne room of God, while the world around you is operating on the frequency of survival and ego. When you try to lower yourself to fit in, your spirit rebels. That anxiety you feel at parties or family gatherings, that is not fear. That is your spiritual immune system rejecting an environment that is toxic to your destiny. The Bible confirms this distinction in 1 Peter 2 verse 9. But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. Notice the word called out. You cannot be called out and fit in at the same time. You were designed to stand out. You were designed to be the glitch in the matrix. When you speak the language of light, truth, and depth. But the world speaks the language of shadows, manipulation, and surface-level noise. Of course they misunderstand you. Of course they call you too sensitive. You are trying to explain color to people who only see in black and white. Stop apologizing for your depth. Stop trying to shrink your wings just so you can fit into their cage. The isolation you have felt was not a punishment. It was a quarantine. God had to separate you to preserve your frequency. If you had stayed in those groups, your oil would have been contaminated. You are a vessel of honor, carrying a new wine that the old wineskins cannot handle. Accept your alien status. Wear your difference like a badge of honor. You are not weird. You are holy. Holy simply means set apart. But there is a dangerous side to shining this brightly. In the spiritual realm, light does not just attract attention, it attracts insects. Your brightness is a signal flare to the kingdom of darkness. They see who you are even before you do. And because your light is so blinding, the enemy cannot afford to leave you alone. In fact, your light is so dangerous to his agenda that he had to design a specific weapon to try and shut you up. This leads us to the reality of the targeted attack. You have asked yourself 1,000 times, why is my life a constant battlefield? Why does it seem like every time I take 2 steps forward, something comes out of nowhere to knock me 3 steps back? You look at others people who lie, cheat, and steal, and their lives seem smooth. They don't have car trouble every month. They don't have sudden health scares. They don't have chaos in their relationships. And you think, maybe God favors them more. No. Listen to me carefully. The enemy does not attack what is empty. A thief does not break into a house that has no furniture. The intensity of the attack is proof of the value of the treasure inside you. The enemy is not fighting your past. He is terrified of your future. He is not attacking who you were. He is attacking who you are becoming. The devil is a legalist. He studies your bloodline. He sees the greatness written in your DNA. He sees that you are the one who is going to generate wealth for the kingdom. He sees that you are the one who is going to break the addiction gene. So he launches what I call preemptive strikes. This is why you faced financial ruin right before a big opportunity. This is why you had a breakup right before a spiritual breakthrough. He wanted to break your legs so you couldn't walk through the door God opened. The Bible reveals this strategy in John 10 verse 10. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. Notice the order. The thief comes first. He tries to intercept the blessing, but notice the promise. Jesus comes to give life to the full. The attack is actually a confirmation that the full life is right around the corner. Think about the specific areas where you have been hit the hardest. Is it your finances? That means you are called to be a kingdom financier. Is it your voice? Have people tried to silence you or slander you? That means your testimony has the power to set captives free. Is it your mind? Have you battled intense fear and depression? That means you have the mind of Christ to solve problems for your generation. The area of your greatest battle is the area of your greatest authority. The enemy is showing his hand. He is showing you exactly what he is afraid of. He is afraid of your wallet. He is afraid of your voice. He is afraid of your influence. So, stop looking at the attacks as bad luck. Look at them as intel. Look at them as a map pointing to your treasure. If he is attacking your money, rejoice, because a massive financial shift is coming. If he is attacking your reputation, stand tall, because God is about to elevate your name in rooms you haven't even entered yet. But I know the last few weeks haven't just been a battle. They have been an all-out war. It felt different this time, didn't it? It felt final. And that is because it was. But the most brutal attack always comes right before the sunrise. I want you to think back to the last 7 days, maybe even this morning. The pressure has been unbearable. You felt like you were going to snap. You felt a wave of hopelessness so heavy it almost crushed you physically. You told yourself, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. Listen to me. That feeling, that was not you wanting to quit. That was the enemy projecting his own panic onto you. We are talking about the panic of hell. In the spirit realm, the enemy knows his time is short. He can see the calendar. He knows that your season of suffering has an expiration date, and that date is approaching rapidly. Revelation 12 verse 12 tells us, Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury, because he knows that his time is short. The fury you have been feeling coming against you is the fury of a loser. It is the desperate, chaotic thrashing of a beast that has been cornered. When a storm is about to end, the wind blows the hardest. When a woman is about to give birth, the pain is the sharpest. You are in the transition ring. That pressure in your head, that's the crowning of your destiny. The enemy threw everything he had at you: sickness, lack, betrayal, confusion, hoping that you would curse God and die, hoping that you would forfeit your birthright just inches from the finish line. But look at you, you are still here. You are watching this video, you are still breathing, you are still believing, and that means he failed. I want you to engage in a mental act of victory right now. You don't need to shout, you don't need to fight. The battle is already won. I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Picture a battlefield where the smoke is clearing. In front of you, there are shadows. The shadows of poverty, the shadows of trauma, the shadows of fear. Now, watch them turn their backs. Watch them running away in terror. They are not running because you are strong. They are running because they see the Lion of Judah standing right behind you. You don't have to lift a finger. The panic is in their camp, not yours. Feel your shoulders drop. Feel the tension leave your neck. Let a smile form on your face. Not a smile of happiness, but a smile of power. A smile that says, I outlasted them. The war is over, chosen one. The dust is settling. The enemy has retreated to the shadows to lick his wounds. He knows he cannot stop what happens next. He tried to bankrupt you, but he only made space for God to fill your storehouses. He tried to break your heart, but he only expanded your capacity to receive divine love. Now, open your eyes and look at your hands. Spiritually, your hands are no longer empty. They are no longer holding weapons of war. God is placing something new in them right now. It is heavy. It is golden. It is the key to the very treasure house that the enemy was trying to guard. God kept it hidden until you were strong enough to hold it, and today the vault is opening. That key in your hand is not just symbolic, it is the access code to what Scripture calls the restoration of all things. We need to talk about your losses, because the enemy has tried to convince you that what you lost is gone forever. He has whispered to you that you are too old to rebuild, that the economy is too bad, or that you missed your window of opportunity. That is a lie from the pit of hell. The kingdom of God operates on a principle called divine compound interest. In the world's economy, if you lose money, it is lost. But in God's economy, if you lose something for the sake of righteousness, it is not lost, it is sown. And a seed never comes back as just a seed. It always comes back as a harvest. You have been looking at your bank account with fear, but God is looking at your spiritual account with anticipation. Every tear you cried was recorded. Every dollar you gave away when you barely had enough for yourself was recorded. Every time you were cheated and chose not to sue, it was recorded. Now, the books are being balanced. You are entering the job season. We talk about Job's suffering, but we often forget how his story ends. Job 42 verse 10 says, "After Job had prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before." Notice the math, not the same amount. Twice as much. This is the law of the double portion. The enemy stole your peace, so God is giving you double peace. He stole your years, so God is redeeming the time. He attacked your finances, so God is releasing an overflow that will not only pay your bills, but will fund your destiny. You need to prepare your mind for a wealth transfer. Proverbs 13 verse 22 declares, "A sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous." Do you understand what that means? The resources you need are currently in the hands of people who do not know God, but a shift is happening. Contracts are about to be reassigned to you. Promotions are about to be handed to you by people who don't even like you. Unexpected checks are going to show up in the mail. This is not magic. This is the harvest. I want you to do a mental act of reception right now. I want you to think of the biggest debt or financial worry that is keeping you awake at night. Visualize that bill in your mind. See the numbers clearly. Now, in your imagination, I want you to see a massive hand coming down from heaven with a red stamp. Watch the hand slam that stamp onto the bill. Read the words in red ink, "Paid in full." Feel the relief washing over your body. The Creator of the universe has just taken over your expenses. Stop trying to figure out how it will happen. Your job is to align. His job is to provide. But listen closely, because money is just paper. The true wealth of a chosen one is not just what is in your pocket. It is who is in your circle. The overflow of wealth is coming, but it is useless if you are surrounded by leaks. This wealth transfer is accompanied by a complete restructuring of your social reality. This brings us to the divine network. One of the most painful parts of your test was the isolation. You watched friends drift away. You stopped getting invited to gatherings. You felt like a pariah. But that subtraction was actually God's way of clearing the construction site. You cannot build a skyscraper on the foundation of a shack. The people who left you were scaffolding. They were there to help you build the first level, but they could not support the weight of your destiny. If they had stayed, their small thinking would have capped your growth. Their jealousy would have sabotaged your harvest. So God removed them. He didn't lose them. He removed them. And now that the site is clear, the destiny helpers are incoming. These are not just friends. These are covenant partners. These are people who carry the missing pieces of your puzzle. Amos 3 verse 3 asks, "Can two walk together except they be agreed?" For years, you walked with people who did not agree with your spirit. You dimmed your light to match their shadows. But in this new season, God is sending you people who are running at your speed. You will meet someone, and within 5 minutes, it will feel like you have known them for 20 years. This is a soul recognition. It is the Jonathan to your David. They will not be intimidated by your vision. They will fuel it. They will not ask to borrow from you. They will ask how they can sow into you. You are about to be invited into rooms where your name has already been spoken with honor. You are about to sit at tables where your wisdom is celebrated, not tolerated. The days of begging for a seat are over. The master of the banquet is pulling out a chair for you. But here is the question that haunts every chosen one who has been betrayed. How will I know? How will I know if this new person is a destiny helper or another Judas in disguise? I have been burned so many times. God, I am afraid to trust again. I hear you, and God heard you too. That is why, along with the money and the people, He has upgraded your spiritual hardware. He has activated a superpower in your eyes that will prevent you from ever being deceived again. This is the gift of discernment. In the past, you ignored the red flags because you wanted to be loved. You suppressed that knot in your stomach because you didn't want to be judgmental. But the test you just passed has refined your spiritual senses. Hebrews 5 verse 14 speaks of those who by constant use have trained themselves to distinguish good from evil. You have been trained by fire. You now possess what I call spiritual X-ray vision. From this day forward, when you meet someone, you will not just hear their words, you will feel their motive. You will look at a person who is smiling, but your spirit will feel a cold chill. That is the Holy Spirit downloading their file to you. You will know who is a snake before they even bite. You will know who is a gold digger before they ask for a dime. This discernment is your protection for the harvest. It is the security system for the wealth God is sending. You will no longer waste years on the wrong relationships. You will no longer sign contracts that lead to traps. When you feel that check in your spirit, that sudden hesitation, that lack of peace, you will obey it immediately. You will not rationalize it away. This gift is active right now. Think about a decision you need to make or a person you recently met. Stop thinking with your brain and drop down into your gut. Is it heavy or is it light? That lightness is God's green light. That heaviness is God's protection. Trust it. You are now walking with the eyes of a prophet. But be careful, chosen one. With this great power and this massive harvest comes a responsibility that many fail to handle. There is a specific trap that opens up the moment you start winning. It is a deadly mistake that 90% of chosen ones make right after their breakthrough, and if you fall into it, you could lose everything you just gained. The deadly mistake that 90% of chosen ones make is this: they talk too soon. You are so relieved that the battle is over, so excited about the blessing that is flowing in, that you want to shout it from the rooftops. You want to run back to the people who mocked you and show them the receipt. You want to post your new car, your new relationship, or your new business on social media to prove them wrong. Stop. Do not do it. This is the law of silence. You must understand that the enemy cannot destroy what he cannot detect. During your season of suffering, you were hidden by God. But the moment you step into the light of the harvest, you become visible again. And the first thing the enemy looks for is a loose tongue. Jesus gave us the ultimate command on this in Matthew 7 verse 6. Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. Listen to the warning. It says they will tear you to pieces. Why? Because pigs do not know the value of pearls. They think it is food. When they realize they cannot eat it, they get angry and attack the giver. The people who abandoned you in your valley do not deserve to celebrate on your mountaintop. If you tell them your good news, they will not say, "Congratulations." They will say, "Why her? Why him?" And that jealousy turns into a spiritual arrow aimed straight at your new blessing. You must move like a ghost in this season. Build in the dark. Heal in private. Let your results make the noise, not your mouth. I want you to perform a mental act of sealing right now. Imagine your future plans, your new ideas, and your financial goals are glowing balls of light in your hands. Now, imagine taking a heavy velvet cloak, the cloak of invisibility, and covering them completely. Say to your spirit, "I command my tongue to be still. My destiny is too expensive to be exposed." This silence is not fear, it is strategy. But there is a deeper, more dangerous reason why you must stay quiet. It is not just about jealous friends. It is about a specific type of entity in the spirit realm that feeds on information. If you speak too much, you activate what we call monitoring spirits. These are demonic watchers assigned to track your progress. They listen for your plans. If you say, "I am buying that house next week," they go to that house and plant chaos. If you say, "I am starting this business on Monday," they create a blockage on Sunday night. Scripture warns us in Proverbs 21 verse 23, "Those who guard their mouths and their tongues keep themselves from calamity." Notice it says, keep themselves from calamity. Most of the calamities you faced in the past happened because you announced your pregnancy before the baby was safe. You announced the deal before the ink was dry. You gave the enemy the coordinates to bomb your bridge. So, here is the strategy for invisibility. When people ask what you are doing, give them vague answers. Be polite, but be a mystery. Confusion is your protection. Let them think you are just surviving while you are secretly thriving. Let them think you are confused while you are actually executing a divine blueprint. God hid Jesus in Egypt to save him from Herod. God is hiding you in silence to save your harvest from the Herods of this generation. But silence is only the defense. Now, we need to talk about the offense. We need to talk about what you are actually going to do with this massive blessing that is coming, because if you do not have a plan for the overflow will drown you. This leads us to the principle of managing the overflow. You must shift your mindset from a survivor to a steward. For years, you have been in survival mode, just trying to pay the rent, just trying to keep your head above water. But now, God is bringing you into a season of excess, and he is watching closely to see how you handle it. 1 Peter 4 verse 10 tells us, "Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms." The wealth is not for you to look rich, it is for you to be effective. The enemy wants you to spend your harvest on looking good, to impress people who don't care about you. God wants you to invest your harvest to build infrastructure for the kingdom. Think about this. Why did God give you this test? Why did he trust you with this pain? Because he knew you would use the power you gain to help others. You are not a reservoir, you are a river. A reservoir holds water until it becomes stagnant. A river lets water flow through it, bringing life everywhere it goes. God is about to make you a distribution center for his resources. Money will come to you because it knows it can flow through you. You are going to pay off your debts, yes. You are going to buy your home, yes. But then, you are going to fund orphanages. You are going to help family members start businesses. You are going to be the answer to someone else's prayer. I want you to visualize your hands again, but this time, do not see them gripping money tightly. See them open. Visualize a river of gold flowing into your left hand, moving through your heart, and flowing out of your right hand to the people who need it. Feel the lack of fear. You are not afraid of running out because you are connected to the source. You have the right mindset. You have the protection of silence. You have the heart of a steward. The enemy has no legal right to touch you anymore. But there is one final thing. All of this, the healing, the protection, the wealth, needs to be locked in. It needs to be signed, sealed, and delivered in the courts of heaven so that no devil in hell can ever reverse it. We are about to do the final work. We are standing at the threshold of your new life, chosen one. But before you step over, we need to perform a spiritual surgery on your identity, because there is a quiet, dangerous voice whispering in your ear right now. Even as I tell you about the wealth and the restoration, a part of you is shrinking back. You are saying, "Who am I to have all this? I am broken. I have made mistakes. I am not holy enough." This is the imposter syndrome trap. It is the enemy's last line of defense. When he cannot stop the blessing from coming to you, he tries to stop you from receiving it by making you feel unworthy. He wants you to feel guilty for being happy. He wants you to apologize for shining. Listen to me. Your worthiness does not come from your perfection. It comes from your selection. You were not chosen because you were flawless. You were chosen because you were faithful. The feeling of unworthiness is actually a symptom of an old garment you are still wearing in the spirit realm. You cannot walk into a palace wearing prison clothes. If you do, you will act like a prisoner even while you sit on a throne. You will sabotage your own success because your subconscious mind thinks you do not belong there. So, today, right now, we are going to change your clothes. We are going to enact the Zechariah protocol. Zechariah chapter 3 shows us a vision of Joshua the high priest standing before the angel of the Lord. And Satan was standing at his right side to accuse him. Why? Because Joshua was wearing filthy clothes. As long as you are wearing the guilt of your past, the trauma of your childhood, and the shame of your failures, the accuser has a legal right to stand next to you. But watch what God does in verse 4. He does not yell at Joshua. He commands the angels, take off his filthy clothes. And then he says to Joshua, see, I have taken away your sin, and I will put fine garments on you. I want you to close your eyes and do this with me. This is not a game. This is a transaction in the Spirit. Imagine you are standing in a court of pure white light. Look down at your spiritual body. Do you see that old gray heavy coat? That is the coat of the victim. It smells like old tears. It is stained with the insults people threw at you. It is heavy with the regret of years you think you wasted. It is rough against your skin, constantly reminding you of your pain. Now, feel the hands of ministering angels on your shoulders. They are peeling that coat off you. Let it slide down your arms. It hits the floor with a heavy thud. Kick it away. You are done with it. You are not a victim anymore. You are not the one who was hurt. You are the one who was healed. Now, feel the new garment descending upon you. It is the robe of righteousness mentioned in Isaiah 61. It is light. It is woven with gold. It feels like silk against your spirit. As you put it on, feel your posture change. You are standing taller. Your head is lifted. This is the garment of a ruler. In the story of the prodigal son, in Luke 15, the first thing the father did when the son returned was to call for the best robe. Not a second-hand robe, the best robe. You are receiving the best that heaven has to offer. The days of settling for scraps are over. Feel the texture of this new reality. It is not just covering you, it is absorbing into you. The shame is gone. The fear of being exposed is gone. You look like royalty now. You are dressed for the occasion. But a robe is only for identity. To rule, you need something else. You need an instrument of command. A king does not ask, a king decrees. And to decree, you need the scepter of authority. Psalm 110 verse 2 says, the Lord will extend your mighty scepter from Zion, saying, rule in the midst of your enemies. Notice it says, in the midst of your enemies. You do not have to wait for all your enemies to disappear before you start ruling. You rule right in front of their faces. I want you to visualize a golden scepter being placed in your right hand. This scepter represents your authority to veto the enemy's plans. From this day forward, when fear tries to enter your mind, you do not argue with it. You point your scepter and say, I rebuke you. When sickness tries to touch your body, you do not accept it. You point your scepter and say, by his stripes I am healed. You are shifting from a prayer of begging to a prayer of legislation. You are no longer asking God to do what He already gave you the power to do. You are the deputy of your own life. Hold that scepter tight in your imagination. Feel the weight of it. It is your responsibility. It is your power. But listen to me closely, chosen one. A castle with open gates is just a ruin waiting to happen. You have the robe, you have the scepter, but we have not yet locked the doors. The enemy is pacing outside, waiting for you to fall asleep so he can steal it all back. We cannot let that happen. We need to perform the final, most critical step of this entire journey. We need to set a bloodline seal that will protect this blessing not just for you, but for your children and your children's children. Prepare your heart. We are about to lock the enemy out forever. The lock is not a physical key. It is a spiritual seal, and we are applying it right now because of a specific danger that Jesus warned us about in Matthew chapter 12, verses 43 through 45. He explained that when an impure spirit comes out of a person, it goes through arid places, seeking rest, and does not find it. Then it says, "I will return to the house I left." When it arrives, it finds the house unoccupied, swept clean, and put in order. Then it goes and takes with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and live there. And the final condition of that person is worse than the first. Listen to me carefully. We have just swept your house clean. We have removed the trauma. We have removed the poverty mindset. We have removed the victim identity. But if we leave your spirit empty, the enemy will try to come back with 7 times more pressure to take back what he lost. This is called the backlash. This is why so many people get a breakthrough and then lose it a month later. They cleaned the house, but they did not fill it. We are not going to make that mistake. We are going to install the 7-fold protection. We are going to fill your spiritual house so full of God's presence that there is no room for the enemy to squeeze in. We are going to invite the 7 spirits of God, mentioned in Isaiah 11 verse 2, to take up residence in your mind, your body, and your bank account. These are the Spirit of the Lord, the Spirit of wisdom, the Spirit of understanding, the Spirit of counsel, the Spirit of might, the Spirit of knowledge, and the Spirit of the fear of the Lord. I want you to visualize your life as a magnificent fortress. For years, the windows were broken and the doors were unhinged. But now, see the windows being repaired with diamond glass that cannot be shattered. See the doors being reinforced with iron bars. And inside every room of your life, imagine a blinding white light filling the space. There are no dark corners left. There are no shadows for a demon to hide in. You are not just clean, you are occupied, you are full. And because you are full of light, darkness cannot enter. But your victory is not just for you. If this blessing stops with you, the enemy wins in the next generation. The devil is patient. If he cannot get you, he will wait for your children. But today, we are going to ruin his plans for the next 10 generations. We are entering into the bloodline decree. You are the cycle breaker. You are the Abraham of your family. God promised in Deuteronomy 7 verse 9 that he is the faithful God, keeping his covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love him and keep his commandments. 1,000 generations. That means the work you did in this video, the tears you cried, the prayers you prayed, are banking interest for great-grandchildren you haven't even met yet. The poverty stops with you. The addiction stops with you. The divorce stops with you. You are building a spiritual firewall that no curse can cross. I want you to engage in a powerful mental act of sealing right now. In your mind's eye, I want you to look behind you. Imagine you can see a long line of people standing in the shadows. Those are your ancestors. Some are sad, some are broken, some are bound by chains. Now, look down at your feet. Imagine a thick golden line drawn on the ground. This is the line of demarcation. Now, look forward. See a path of red carpet stretching out into the future. It is bright, it is clean, it is empty of baggage. I want you to mentally declare to the shadows behind you, you cannot pass this line. The trauma ends here. The sickness ends here. I honor you, but I will not carry your pain. Now, turn your back on the shadows and face the light. Feel the generational weight lifting off your spine. You are free. And because you are free, your lineage is free. Now, we must set the final seal. This is the moment where we lock everything in. I am going to pray a prayer of high command. This is not a request. This is a legislative act in the courts of heaven. I need you to agree with every word. Do not just listen. Drink these words into your spirit. Let them become your new DNA. Relax your body. Open your hands to receive. And let the authority of heaven settle over you. Father, in the name of the one who holds the keys of David, the one who opens and no one can shut, and who shuts and no one can open, we stand on the holy ground of this finished work. We present this chosen one before your throne, clothed in righteousness and holding the scepter of authority. We declare that the transaction is complete. I decree and declare a firewall of protection around their mind. I bind every spirit of doubt, every whisper of the impostor, and every projection of fear. I command the mind of Christ to be activated fully within them. They will think thoughts of success. They will dream dreams of greatness. The era of confusion is over. The era of clarity has begun. I decree and declare a hedge of fire around their finances. I rebuke the devourer for their sake. I command the cankerworm, the locust, and the caterpillar to vomit up everything they have stolen. I speak to the hidden treasures of this earth. Reveal yourselves to this chosen one. I speak to the opportunities that have been held up in the spirit. Be released now. I seal their pockets so there are no holes. I seal their storehouses so there is no leak. Prosperity is their portion, not for greed, but for your glory. I decree and declare a shield of health over their physical body. I curse the root of every stress-related illness. I command the cortisol levels to drop and the serotonin levels to rise. I speak to every cell, every nerve, every tissue. Align with the perfection of heaven. The spirit of infirmity is evicted. The spirit of might has taken over. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. I decree and declare the salvation of their household. I call their children from the north, south, east, and west. I declare that the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. No weapon formed against their marriage, their relationships, or their children shall prosper. I plead the blood of the covenant over their doorposts. The angel of death must pass over. The angel of destruction must pass over. Only goodness and mercy shall follow them all the days of their life. I decree and declare that their name is being whispered in rooms of influence right now. I command favor to go before them like a battering ram, breaking down doors of rejection. Where they were ignored, they will be celebrated. Where they were tolerated, they will be dominated. I silence every tongue that rises against them in judgment. I condemn every word curse spoken by jealous friends or bitter family members. Those words fall to the ground now, powerless and void. I seal this destiny with the signature of the Most High. I declare that this is not a temporary relief. This is a permanent shift. The old season is rolled up like a scroll and put away. The new season is unrolled before them like a highway. Walk in it, chosen one. Walk in your power. Walk in your peace. Walk in your prosperity. The enemy is defeated. God is exalted, and you are elevated. It is done. It is done. It is done. Chosen one, stay in this atmosphere for a moment. Do not rush back to the noise of the world. Let this seal harden. Let this truth settle into your bones. You have done the work. You have passed the test. You have claimed the reward. The universe has shifted to accommodate your new reality. You are no longer waiting for the miracle. You have become the miracle. As a final act of agreement, to physically anchor this spiritual reality into the earth realm, I want you to type the number 777 inches, the comments. 7 is the number of perfection. 7 is the number of completion. By typing this, you are telling the spirit realm, I agree. It is finished. I receive my crown. Go in peace, chosen one. The world is waiting for your light.